Let's see. So welcome everyone to the Exceptional Family Resource Center's Parenting Hack Series, and we are delighted today to have with us the CalABLE folks, actually singular folk, Madeline Handy, and she's going to be sharing with us today an English presentation. The exact same information that was provided last night in Spanish is going to be provided tonight in English, so there will not be interpretation. And these will be recorded and then available on our YouTube channel probably in a week or two after we have a time to process and edit out anything. What we are asking, I'm going to just do housekeeping. We will ask that you use the chat if there's something you don't understand as the process, as Madeline's going through her presentation. Then we're going to stop the recording and we'll have time for some questions and answers that are not being recorded for posterity. So without further ado, Madeline, thank you so much for joining us here in San Diego and Imperial counties.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, I am going to go ahead and share some slides. So let's get these set up. Okay, can you see that okay? Okay, perfect. So hello, everyone. My name is Madeline Handy. I am an outreach specialist with CalABLE. I've been with CalABLE for about 2 years now. And so today I'm going to be sharing about CalABLE, which is a financial program for the disability community. And so we here at CalABLE believe that everyone with a disability should know about CalABLE. Now, you're probably wondering, what exactly is CalABLE? So the ABLE part of CalABLE stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience. And this is part of the ABLE Act, which is a federal law that was signed in 2014. And the ABLE Act allowed states to open these tax-advantaged savings and investment programs that are designed to help people with disabilities achieve their financial dream. And so CalABLE is California's version of the ABLE Act. And really, the best part of CalABLE is that with a CalABLE account, people can save money without losing their eligibility for means-tested benefits programs like SSI, Section 8 housing, Medi-Cal, and others. And so this is a really great opportunity for people to really begin to save in a way they haven't been able to before. And the money in these accounts can be used for qualified disability expenses that are things like education, housing, transportation, and I'm actually going to dive into qualified disability expenses later on in this presentation. And so this is a really great program that we are trying to get the word out about. And so why do we need CalABLE? So as I'm sure you're all aware, it's really no secret that living with a disability can be extremely expensive. You might have extra costs for things like medical treatments, accessible housing, adaptive equipment, assistive care, and much more. And these are expenses that people without disabilities may not have. And so for many people living with disabilities, finances can be a huge burden and financial stability can be hard to achieve. And that's really true for anyone when you think about it. But in fact, the National Disability Institute found that an adult living with a disability has to spend 29% more of their income to attain the same quality of life as someone without a disability. And in many cases, this percentage can actually be much higher. And so that is where CalABLE comes in. So you may be aware that if you're on SSI, you can't save more than $2,000 in your bank account. Otherwise, your benefits may be at risk of being suspended. But the really great thing about CalABLE accounts is that you can actually save up to $100,000 directly in the CalABLE account, and it will not impact SSI benefits. So this is how people with disabilities can really improve their quality of life while pursuing their goals. And opening a CalABLE account can really be a life-changing experience. So on this slide, I have just a few facts about CalABLE. So CalABLE is administered by the state of California and chaired by the state treasurer. I actually work in the state treasurer's office. So we are a government program, so we are legit. And then the CalABLE community has more than $125 million in assets under management, and more than 10,000 people have trusted CalABLE with their savings and investments. Currently, the CalABLE program is available to anyone whose disability began before age 26. I'm going to do a little deep dive into eligibility requirements, but we're really excited because starting in 2026, that age limit is actually going to go up to age 46. This is through the Able Age Adjustment Act, which was recently passed. And so we're really excited about that because so many more people are going to be eligible for these accounts. And, we're really happy about these numbers that 10,000 people have trusted CalABLE with their savings and investments, but there are so many people who are eligible for these accounts in California. And so we're really trying to get the word out, which is why I'm giving this presentation today. And I hope that if you like what you hear, you spread the word to everyone in your community as well. And so in this presentation, I'm going to be going over some of our top questions that we receive. So first, starting with who is eligible. Second, how much can I save? Third, what should I spend my money on? That's a very common question that we receive. 4 is how do I open an account? Number 5, which is my personal favorite question, is how do I maximize my CalABLE account? And then question number 6 is going to be why choose CalABLE? And I'll also talk a little bit about special needs trusts there as well. So question number 1, who is eligible? So like I mentioned, to be eligible for CalABLE right now, you have to have a disability that began before age 26. So this doesn't mean that the person has to be under age 26 when they open the account. They can actually be any age and open a CalABLE account. It's just the likely onset of their disability has to have been before age 26. And I also want to say that they could have been diagnosed after age 26, but as long as the likely onset was prior to age 26. So one example we like to use is autism. Somebody may have been diagnosed later in life after age 26, but they always had autism. And so they would be eligible to open a CalABLE account no matter what their age is. And then we go off Social Security's definition of disability. And so if you're on disability benefits like SSI or SSDI and your disability began before age 26, you're automatically eligible to open a CalABLE account. It makes it really easy. But even if you're not an SSI or SSDI, it's still really easy to open a CalABLE account. You'll just have to self-certify that your disability is on the SSA list of compassion allowances or the Blue Book listing. And then we do recommend that you receive a letter from a qualified physician that basically just states that your disability likely began before age 26. You do not need to turn this into CalABLE, but we recommend that you keep it on file just in case you ever decide to go on benefits, or potentially the IRS could ask. But we've never seen that happen. We just want you to be prepared just in case. And then for everyone who opens a CalABLE account, you'll just have to confirm that your disability began before age 26. And so the second question is, how much can I save? So you can contribute in 2024 up to $18,000 into your CalABLE account. And so this can come from all sources. So it could come from your income, it could come from friends and family gifting to your account, it could come from work, it could come from grants. Really, this can come from any source. And so this is for 2024, it is $18,000. That is the contribution cap. This is based on the IRS gift tax exemption limit, and so it can change from year to year. In 2023, the annual contribution cap was $17,000. So we were really happy when it went up to $18,000 in 2024. And then for those who are on SSI benefits, the maximum amount that you can actually have in your CalABLE account without impacting benefits is $100,000. And so that is both contributions and then any earnings or interest that your account gains. And so if you're on SSI and you want to maintain your benefits as you approach the $100,000 limit, CalABLE will let you know. And then at that point, you would probably want to take some of that money out and spend on the qualified disability expenses. And then you could still put money back into the account, but just remember to keep it under $100,000. And then for those who are not on SSI benefits or aren't worried about protecting them, the total contribution cap for your CalABLE account is $529,000. So that is a lot, and that is both contributions and earnings. And so at that point, you wouldn't be able to put any more money into your account, but the account could still continue to grow. So yeah, that's one of the ways that you can really save up some money. And then CalABLE will automatically reject any excess contributions. So you don't have to worry about, oh no, I'm putting in too much for the year. We won't let you do that. And so throughout this presentation, I have some quotes from CalABLE ambassadors who are account holders. And so I really think that these quotes are a great way for you to see how real life people are using their CalABLE accounts. And so this is Valerie, and she said, "I'm using my CalABLE account by every month putting $50 in my account. So in 4 or 5 years, when my service dog retires, I'll have enough money for travel and expenses when I go get my successor dog." So Valerie is a really great example of somebody who is just continuing to contribute to her account, and she has that savings goal in mind. So then here, there is actually a way for certain people to contribute above that $18,000 contribution limit if they are working. And so for able to work, you basically have to be working, and you or your employer cannot be contributing to a retirement plan that calendar year. Basically, from your income, you're able to contribute an additional $14,580 in 2024. And so that 14,000, that does have to come from your income. The 18,000 can come from all sources. So that can come from your income, friends and family, but this specific able to work contributions does have to come from your income. And so potentially through able to work, somebody could contribute up to 32,580 in 2024. So this is a way for people who are working to really save even more money. And this is a really great benefit for people with disabilities who may not be working full time and may not have access to those employer-based retirement plans to really begin actually, saving for their future and for retirement. So question number 3, what can I spend my money on? This is many people's favorite question. And so you can spend the money in your CalABLE account on qualified disability expenses. And so the definition of a qualified disability expense is any expense that helps the account holder maintain or improve their health, their independence, or their quality of life. And so that is the definition of a qualified disability expense. It is meant to be intentionally broad so that people can really use these accounts in the way that they see fit and in the way that helps them live their best lives. And so on this screen, I have example categories of what those expenses could look like. This is not all extensive by any means, but it's just to help get you thinking about what you would want to use your account for. And so things like education, so tuition, books, laptops, technology, those would all be qualified disability expenses. Housing, so rent or mortgage payments, utilities, those would be qualified disability expenses. For housing specifically, I do want to mention that if you're on SSI, you have to take out the money for the housing expense and pay it in the same calendar month. This is just important specifically for housing and SSI. SSI doesn't have that same requirement of taking the money out in the same month for other qualified disability expenses. But for housing, you'll just want to make sure that if you're on SSI, you take the money out in the same calendar month that you pay the expense. Okay, and then another qualified disability expense could be transportation. So car payments or maybe even Ubers and Lyfts, health and then prevention and wellness, funeral and burial expenses, even vacations could be considered qualified disability expenses. So really, when you're thinking about is this a qualified disability expense? Think about that definition. Does this help me maintain or improve my health, my independence, or my quality of life? And CalABLE does not ask you what you're spending your money on, but we do recommend that you keep a record just in case Social Security or potentially the IRS could ask. Again, we've never seen the IRS ask, but I just do want people to be aware that it is a possibility because these are tax advantage accounts as well. Okay, and then here is another quote from CalABLE Ambassador Cheryl. She has 2 sons and they each have an ABLE account. And so Cheryl said, CalABLE enables me to provide tools for my children to help them better communicate and relate to the world. We use funds to pay for their horseback riding therapy, music therapy, and art therapy. So I really like this example because Cheryl's really thinking creatively about what can improve her son's quality of life and their independence. And for them, that is horseback riding, music, and art. So the next question I'll be going over is, how do I open an account? And so a few things you should be aware of before opening an account is that participants can only have one ABLE account. So I mentioned at the beginning that the ABLE Act allowed states to open these ABLE programs. And so there are a lot of different ABLE programs across the country, but you can only have one ABLE account. So if you have a CalABLE account, you wouldn't be able to open an ABLE account in a different state. But the really great thing about CalABLE is that we are a national program. And so if you did open a CalABLE account and then you move to a different state, you could still keep your CalABLE account. Now, I do want to say that we usually recommend that people take a look at their home state's ABLE program first, because there could be some additional benefits for in-state residents. And then another thing you should be aware of before opening an ABLE account is that the person with the disability is always the ABLE account owner and beneficiary of the funds. So this really allows the person with a disability to be in the driver's seat. It really allows you to have some control over your finances in a way that other protections would not allow. And then even if the account is opened by an authorized legal representative, the funds still belong to the person with the disability. And so I mentioned an authorized legal representative. And so this is a person who can actually open the account for the person with the disability, and they would be the one who manages the funds, who makes the decisions on the account. So in the case where the person with the disability is under 18, they would have to have an authorized legal representative on the account, and that's often the parent. But we've also seen grandparents open the accounts just to make it a little bit easier for the family. But basically on this slide is who can be an authorized legal representative. So it starts with someone with power of attorney, then a legal guardian and conservator, spouse, a parent, a sibling, a grandparent, and then even a representative payee can be an authorized legal representative, and really anyone requested by the account owner. And so to open a CalABLE account, you have to go to our website, which is calable.ca.gov. We are a completely online program. Unfortunately, we don't have any physical location where you could go and open an account. But we do try to make the process as easy as possible online. And there is a paper form if you would prefer to do that. But you would go to our website and click open an account. And then you would go through the enrollment process. Should take about 20 to 30 minutes. And then you can go ahead and get started with your account. So question number 5, which is my favorite, how do I maximize my CalABLE account? So there are 3 key ways to maximize a CalABLE account. That really is to save money, grow your money, and then spend your money. And so there are a few different ways you can contribute to your account. you can link a bank account and do electronic transfers. And then you can also set up recurring contributions. So really set it and forget it. You can also set up direct deposits of Social Security benefits. And then you can also do direct deposits of payroll from work. And then you can mail a check to CalABLE. And then another really great way to build up your CalABLE savings is to set up a gifting page. And so with the gifting page, you would go ahead, set this up, and it generates a link where anybody who has that link can actually contribute directly to your account, really help you reach your savings goal. And then the great thing about these gift contributions is that they don't count as income. And so for Social Security, if you want to help, if your friends and family want to help you with rent, they can actually contribute directly to your CalABLE account, and Social Security won't decrease the amount of payment that you receive. So this is a really great way for friends and family to, help you save money without impacting your benefits. And so we really recommend that people set up these gifting pages and, post the link on social media or send it out via email. And so here's a quote from Hector. So he said, "For my birthday, I asked folks, this is my ABLE account. You can make a donation. And I ended up getting enough money to put down a down payment for a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom mobile home." And so I love sharing this example of Hector because Hector, he was on benefits and he worked. And so he actually made enough money that he went off benefits. But then unfortunately, during the housing crisis, he ended up, losing his home and was homeless for a little bit. And so with this CalABLE account and through e-gifting, he was able to save enough money to put down a down payment on his mobile home. And so now he has that security. And so Hector is one of our CalABLE ambassadors. His story is on our YouTube channel. So I definitely recommend checking it out because he does a much better job of sharing his story than I do. Now, another great way to maximize your CalABLE account is to invest your money. So often people ask, I'm not on benefits, so is there, any point of me opening a CalABLE account? And the answer is yes, because with a CalABLE account, it grows tax-free, and then the money can be taken out at any time without taxes or penalties for those qualified disability expenses. So I like to compare CalABLE accounts to Roth IRAs, except you don't have to wait until you're a certain age. This is to take the money out. So this is a really great way for people to build wealth through compound earnings. And then we know at CalABLE that many people are first-time savers and first-time investors. And so we try to make investing as easy as possible. And so we offer 8 different investment portfolios. Basically, you select which portfolios you want to put your money into. You're not going and selecting individual stocks and bonds. These are selected by our investment manager, and so they do the hard work here for you. And so with CalABLE, we have these 8 different ones. The FDIC insured portfolio is most similar to a savings portfolio. And so this one is not tied to the markets at all. It actually has interest on it. I believe right now it's about 2%. It's on our website if you want to go look at that. But for people who may be using their account for more of a day-to-day basis to pay bills and that sort of thing, the FDIC insured portfolio can be a great option. And then we have these 7 different investment portfolios. They're weighted by risk. And so as you can see, they're a combination of stocks, bonds, and then the income portfolio does have some money market securities. And so it goes from least risky to most risky. And just a quick note on risk. So risk is basically the potential that you could lose money, but also that you could earn money. And so with the income portfolio, this is the least risky, other than the FDIC insured portfolio, which isn't tied to the markets. But the income portfolio is mostly bonds and then some money market securities. And then as it goes up in risk all the way to the growth portfolio, the ratio of stocks goes up. And so here at CalABLE, we can't give investment advice, but we can give you some things to think about and to consider when you're selecting the investment portfolios. And so one thing would be to think about, what are your savings goals? Like I mentioned, if you're using the account for more day-to-day expenses like bills, and you need to make sure that the money is going to be there and it's not going up and down with the markets, the FDIC insured portfolio can be a great option. If you're thinking more long-term, you could do any of the investment portfolios. You could actually spread the money out, put some money in the income portfolio, put some in the growth portfolio, if you wanted to do that. And then we also, you should consider your own risk tolerance. And so with risk, some people are really, they're okay seeing the money go up and down. Others are not okay with it at all. And so for those people, they may want to do something a little less risky and do maybe the income portfolio or the conservative. And for somebody who's like, I don't really care, I'm here for the long run, then maybe they would think about the growth portfolio. But it really just is about your own personal financial comfort and your own saving goals. And so here is a quote from Angelina. She's an authorized legal representative for her son, Tyler. And she said, having a CalABLE account will help Tyler finally save money for all his medical and living expenses, while also teaching him how to plan long-term for his career and future, just as you and I are able to do. The CalABLE program opens the door to life's possibilities for Tyler. And so this is a really great example of how Tyler and Angelina are thinking about what Tyler's short-term expenses are, but then also what he wants in the future. And they'd be looking at the different investment portfolios and really selecting those based on their needs. And then on this slide, we do have account fees. I want to be transparent about that. We try to keep the fees as low as possible, but you should be aware that there are some fees involved. And so this example here assumes that somebody has $3,000 in their CalABLE account. And for all CalABLE accounts, there is an annual account maintenance fee of $30 per year. This is taken out on a quarterly basis. So it'd be $750 per quarter. But it's only the one $30 fee. It doesn't matter if you have money in the FDIC insured portfolio or if you have money in the different investment portfolios. It's just going to be one $30 fee. And then for the FDIC insured portfolio, there is a state administrative fee. This is a percentage-based fee. So it's going to depend on how much money you actually have in your CalABLE account. But for the state administrative fee, it is 0.28%. And so if you had $3,000 in the FDIC insured portfolio, that state administrative fee would be $8.40. And then the investment portfolios, they also have that state administrative fee. And then they also have the underlying investment fees, which are, again, percentage-based. And so you can see those down below. It'll depend on which portfolio you have your money in. But those would range between $1 and $2 for having $3,000 in your account. And then there's also the program management fee, which is again percentage-based. And so that would be $3 if you had $3,000 in your CalABLE account. And so for the investment portfolios, the fees for the year would be between $42 and $47. And so I know this could get a little bit complicated. So yeah, definitely, if you have any questions, you can always give us a call or email us. Okay, and now getting into spending your money. And so with a CalABLE account, I already mentioned those qualified disability expenses. And so to actually spend the money on those expenses, you can link a bank account similar to contributing to your account. You can do an electronic transfer to put money into your bank account. You can also have a check be written to yourself or to somebody else. And then another really great way to access your money is with our prepaid card. And so this is a reloadable prepaid debit card. So it's not directly linked to the account. You basically take money from the account and load it onto the card, and then you can spend that money anywhere that Visa debit cards are accepted. The one thing is you cannot go to an ATM and get cash. So that's why that asterisk is there. But basically this allows you to, do some online shopping. You can go to restaurants. So it's a really great way to use the money in your CalABLE account. You can also customize your spending, so you can set where your card will and won't work. You can also track your spending and upload receipts. You don't have to do that. This is just a tool that allows you to, track your spending a little bit better. And then you can also have two separate cards. So you could have one for the beneficiary and then one for the authorized legal representative. So this is a really great way for somebody who's maybe a first-time budgeter. They're learning how to budget. They can have this prepaid card and not have access to all the money in the account, but to some of it. And so this can really allow them to practice budgeting and spending their money. And then there are no monthly fees involved with the card. And then one thing I did wanted to say quickly about the fees that I forgot to say is that with the fees, we do recommend that people are continuously contributing to their account, because remember, the accounts do grow tax-free. And so really the goal with these accounts is that the growth on the accounts will outweigh the fees. So we definitely recommend to keep contributing to your account. And so the last question I'll be going over is why choose CalABLE as opposed to something like a special needs trust. And so often with this, we get the question, which is better, a CalABLE account or a special needs trust? And really the answer is that neither one is better. They can actually work really, really well together. And so there's just some things that you might want to consider. And we do have a webinar on CalABLE and special needs trust that was recorded. It's on our YouTube channel. And so that goes into all the details about this. But this is just a brief overview comparing the two. And again, they can actually work really well together. And so with a CalABLE account, you can actually open it up by yourself online in 20 minutes or less. Generally speaking, with a special needs trust, you would need to work with an attorney to create it. So if you're looking for something a little bit more immediate, you could get started with a CalABLE account and then still keep working for that special needs trust. With a CalABLE account, the individual with the disability is always the owner, and they or the authorized legal representative can manage and spend the money. With the special needs trust, a trustee manages the trust and has sole discretion over spending. With purchases, CalABLE accounts can be used for a broad range of allowable uses, including food and housing. With the special needs trust, it still does have a broad range of allowable uses, but depending on how the trust is written, it possibly could not be used for food or housing, but it really does depend on how the trust is written. And then with a CalABLE account, it is free to open, and fees start at $30 a year. And then some of the investment choices have additional fees. With a special needs trust, that cost is really going to vary. And you do have to work with an attorney, so generally it is a little bit more expensive. With a CalABLE account, anyone can contribute, but deposits are limited to $18,000 per year. And so this is really one of the key differences between CalABLE accounts and special needs trusts. Often if somebody is getting a large amount of money, like an inheritance or a payout, in that case, we generally recommend a special needs trust, since with a CalABLE account, you are limited to that $18,000 per year. And then with a special needs trust, the only thing there is that contributors are limited, so they cannot include the beneficiary. And then with CalABLE accounts for Medi-Cal paybacks, Medi-Cal can actually not or will not seek to recover from a California resident with a CalABLE account. And we're actually doing a webinar next month where we're going to have Medi-Cal representatives on. So if you do have any questions specifically about CalABLE and Medi-Cal, I definitely recommend registering for that webinar. You can find the link on our website. And then with special needs trust, only first-party trusts must pay back Medi-Cal. With CalABLE accounts, I mentioned those 8 investment options. And then with special needs trusts, there are also investment options, but the earnings there are taxed. So those are some of the key differences between CalABLE and special needs trust. But just remember, you can actually have both, and they actually work really well together. And so then lastly, this slide is just sort of a summary slide of everything I talked about why choose CalABLE. And so with the CalABLE account, it really empowers people with disabilities to save for their futures. They are in the driver's seat. And then with CalABLE accounts, you can save money while still protecting your benefits. Your money is protected from Medi-Cal recovery. Friends and family can contribute to your account through that gifting option. And then you can also grow your money tax-free and take it out at any time without taxes or penalties for items and experiences that can really help make your life better. And then you become part of the CalABLE community. And so we definitely recommend, get started today, begin saving today. And if you need any help, you can always call our customer service center. And so that number is 833-CalABLE. That's also 833-225-2253. And they are open between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. Pacific. Now, if you're really raring to go with CalABLE, I'll just mention that tomorrow, which would be the March 29th, we are going to close early at 11 a.m. Pacific for Good Friday. So just be aware of that if you want to get your questions in, get it in before 11. But any other time, we're open from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific. And then if you have questions after hours and you don't want to forget it, you can always use our customer support form that's located on the CalABLE website. And you can use that and submit your questions. And then you can also sign up to receive our emails, newsletters, and information about CalABLE by scanning this QR code, or you can also go to the website to sign up there. And then I wanted to cover just some resources. So I mentioned a little bit, we do have that YouTube channel. So I definitely recommend checking it out. We have some great videos there. We have tips for opening a CalABLE account. We have CalABLE and Special Needs Trust. And then we also have videos of our ambassadors on there. You saw their quotes, but I highly recommend checking out their videos. They're pretty short. They're about 1 minute and 30 seconds. And so that's a really great way to learn more about the program and how real people are using it. And then we also have social media. We try to post every day. So definitely be sure to like and follow us and join the conversation. And then finally, I just want to cover the disclosure document. I'm not going to read this, but we do have a disclosure document, and we recommend that people read that before opening an account because CalABLE is an investment plan. There are risks involved, like I mentioned. There is the possibility that you could lose money. And so we definitely ask that you take a look at this before opening an account so that you know the risks, but so that you also know the benefits of a CalABLE account and all the features that are possible. And so the disclosure document really is, everything you could possibly need to know about the program. So definitely take a look at it. And of course, if you have questions, always feel free to reach out to our customer service center if you don't want to dig through this whole document. And thank you. I definitely appreciate your time, and we do have time for questions.
And I want to thank you also, Madeline. I'm going to stop the recording first, and then let's see. Yes, I want to stop recording.